You guys were talking a moment ago about, your fan base flipped on you.
Right.
Do you want to explain like what happened? You guys were doing fitness content on YouTube, and
They used to be very young. You see a bunch of bodybuilders, bunch of fit chicks.
And it was a good mix. It's like 15-20% would be like black, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, we've always had a majority white audience because we live in a white country, but but it was a good mix. It was it represented what America is, right? Now it's just
like it looks like we had a Bruce Springsteen concert.
there's a whole bunch of white dudes.
Yeah, it totally blew me away because when we had a show in Knoxville, we look out to the arms. I was like, you see a bunch
Nashville,
of coveralls, cowboy hats. I was like, I think these people at the wrong show.
yeah.
I didn't know. I mean, since we came out of the closet as conservative, I didn't think I thought, for the most part, we was committing career suicide, but we just fed up to
we
the
was
point.
just so pissed off by how the direction of the country and then we had no idea people was going to come out and support us the way they did.
You know what's crazy? When we go out before our comedy shows, we get a standing ovation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So wait, you guys actually thought it was done? You were like, we're going to say this, and that's the end of it. But so be it.
Yeah, I did.
Bravo.
Yeah, I had no idea it was going to take off the way it did.
That's
But
the
it's
best decision we ever made.
And you know, it's a lot of places they won't book us because we're conservative, but the comedy clubs that do book us, man, the staff, the management, they're like, man, these people tip so good. You guys can come back. It's like they spend money, they tip well, they're real cordial with everybody.
And then there's some clubs the way they treat our fans like shit. I'd never go back there.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out to XCal shooting range and fitness and sports fitness shooting in Virginia. We went there this weekend. Everyone there was super cool. If you like shooting guns, man, shout out because they were very, very nice to us.
Yeah.
Super awesome.
I hope so. They got guns.
That's right. And I'm like, I think if you're in a position where you're in the business of guns, you got to choose your friends as loudly as possible because if you're not speaking up for your rights, they've been coming after you for a long time.
Yeah, an armed society is a very polite society, and I think the stats in Chicago, especially with crime, show that very well.
Yeah,
right. But yeah, shouts out to XCal, great guys, great facility, lots of firearms, lots of like really fun stuff to shoot.
Full auto,
yeah,
belt fed.
I had a lot of fun there this weekend as well. So
What's your
shouts out
favorite
to
gun?
them.
What's your favorite pistol?
It depends. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, 300 Blackout, Sugar Weasels are also pretty cool. I like those a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a Biden guy. I got a shotgun.
They have cameras on the range,
right?
And I'm walking out to grab some of our crew to bring them in, and I'm like, oh, there's Luke, and you can see Luke in the camera in the range, and you can't hear anything, and he's just going like this, like explaining the machine gun.
Yeah.
But the reason I was asking about it is because I mentioned earlier that we're going to do this big skate thing on Saturday. I shouldn't even call it a big skate thing. I just said literally I'm going to go and skate because I'm just sick and tired of hearing this over and over and over again. And look, I got a lot of friends who are in the skateboard industry people I've known for decades, people I've known since I was a kid, and they're all doing this thing where they're like, "Hey man, I really agree with everything you say, but like I can't tell anybody that, of course." And I'm like,
I hate that.
Get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Like, look,
that's like such a smacking.
So what happened? What galvanized you to do this event with the skateboard?
Well, look, man, like I don't want to call it an event. I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
So we've gone skating around all the parks in this area.
Right.
Never had an issue. They opened up a new park, a park in Hagerstown, Maryland. No issue. I show up, I'm skating. People come up to me, they're fist bumping me, they're shaking my hand. So like, oh, dude, like, cool, man, cool to see you. It's really awesome. Then I go to DC and apparently like something happened. I don't even know what because I don't really even know anybody there.
Right. Well, it's DC.
It's DC.
Yeah.
But so I'm minding my own business, and there was like a couple people that I like. One guy sort of knew, and there were a couple people there who were like famous. And I'm just like, oh wow, look at this guy. And I'm just like talking to the locals, no problem. But apparently some people had some beef and started like sending out texts into the community saying something. I don't even know exactly what necessarily.
Was it because you're white?
Yeah. Actually, they were whiter than I was,
right?
And so
they were the good white, huh?
That's right. That's how it goes, right?
Yeah.
So me being, like supposedly this diverse individual of a mixed race background, showing up to skate my own business, I got white people attacking me now, but I'm the white supremacist dead bad guys. But so I was just like, dude, I live here, man. We live in the DC area. I skate here. There's no reason for anything to be said about anything. I mind my own business. I'm gonna go do what I want. I'm gonna skate. I'm do what I want.
Yeah.
And so the issue is, you guys mentioned that your audience flipped it. I thought that was interesting. For me, what's happened is I've found that most of the people who followed me still do, but they message me privately, be like, "Oh yeah, I can't let anybody know."
Right.
And then I'm like, "Here's what's gonna happen." There's a little kid right now. He's 10 years old. He's not heard of free speech at all because you won't speak up. So when he goes to the skate park, the only thing he hears is wokeness.
Right.
And then you just keep your mouth shut like a good little, like a good little indentured servant, marching behind the woke people, helping them to their ends. I'm not going to do that.
That's what feeds it. Nobody's speaking up.
Yeah.
That's right. So that's kind of
That's
bravo,
crazy,
you guys.
man. That just because you might have different opinions in politics, why people will, I don't know. It's a
cult.
Yeah, it's a lack of courage in this country.
But it's like, it seems like it's when people get afraid, when they start to panic, is when the politics becomes divisive. If they're not in a panic state,
Right.
I've never noticed that in the last 40 years.
Right,
It's
you're
been
absolutely
it's
right.
fun. It's actually fun to talk politics.
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I think your guys' story is so important here because, you guys also had that fear before coming out and actually being the truest versions of yourselves, being actually authentic, not being afraid to actually speak your mind. And once you're living freely, there's the kind of softness, there's a kind of easiness going around life being like, hey, I'm not going to have to, think about what I'm going to have to say here. I'm just going to say what I want to say. Living that life is amazing. And sadly, a lot of people listening to this right now are holding themselves back. They're afraid to say anything. They're afraid to intervene. They're afraid to have those conversations. And I think they're being stupid.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a liberating experience once you do come out. I mean,
Exactly.
it's liberating for a gay person to finally come out of the closet. It's liberating if you're conservative. Just come out and be yourself.
It was definitely liberating for two black guys to come out of the closet as conservatives.
Yeah.
So.
What happened leading up to it? Were you getting frustrated behind the
I
scenes?
got tired of looking at like all these famous black people on social media with their views. I was like, man, I have a platform. I'm gonna use my platform to express. I'm a black guy, but I think this way. It's almost like a culture within the black community, and it is. It's like 90% of blacks vote Democrat every election. That is so weird. There's no other demographic in this country that votes at that clip. That 90%.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
because they
sense.
think the other side is racist. They fell for that.
Yeah,
Which is sad.
And they keep saying that people on the left have said that we are a threat to democracy. The only threat to democracy is when you lie about the other side and call them names and call them transphobia, racist. They are the threats to democracy because you're lying for votes.
And use the federal government to prosecute them and to silence their
Exactly.
speech on social media, like the White House is doing by literally telling social media companies to censor people because of their
Right.
voices, which is absolutely crazy.
Let me just say, that kind of democracy is like North Korean democracy.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call it the Democratic People's Republic of North Korea, and they all vote, and they all have to vote for the one guy.
Yeah.
When you all vote for the exact same thing, that's not democracy.
Yeah.
So, but here's what you got to understand: when they say you're a threat to our democracy, they're not talking about the United States as an our. They're talking about the cult as an our.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
saying you're a threat to the woke order. That's what they're
Right.
saying.
Yeah, and when they're calling for diversity, they're not calling for diversity of opinions.
Yeah.
Right.
They're just calling for diversity of the same opinion that they're going to regurgitate and beat you over the head with because
right.
that's the power structure that really is kind of fomenting in this country and getting more violent and getting more powerful by the day, which is becoming a larger threat against human rights, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and that's why they picked a black woman to be a judge, because she's a woman. And when she gets up and she doesn't know what the hell a woman is.
There was
It's all
a
BS.
This woman, Kirsten Henning, I think her name was, she refused to kneel for BLM, and it was like college soccer, I think. And so they benched her because of it. She just won 100, allegedly. She filed a lawsuit, won 100 grand. She's since left. She's on doing her life, $100,000 in her pocket.
Nice.
So I'm telling people, there was this college professor who said, if you're in school, if you're in work, and they start disparaging white people, Christians, males, or any of that stuff, or conservatives, bring it to HR and file a complaint because they're not allowed to do that. Use their own system against them.
Like blacks are a protected class. Gays are a protected class. Any person of color is a protected class. But I don't think necessarily you can be discriminatory towards white people and you don't have to worry about any civil rights.
Yeah,
That's basically what they're doing.
Yeah. That's the culture of the United States of America right now, which is weird.
Because it's the idea that a white person has no color. It's a person that isn't.
No, they're saying
of any
that-
color.
That you're
privileged.
privileged.
You're
Actually, what
superior.
they're saying, you are superior.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you can get over that. All right. But I'm
Best
serious,
day of my life.
This is how, as a black person,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
They think you're superior.
I think it comes from a lot of self-hatred too. They don't think they can do it because they've been indoctrinated.
Imagine
to
being a
think
black
that way.
person, you turn on TV and you need a white politician, Democrat, to help you be successful in this country.
That's what Joe Biden said. But
That's
they're going
what,
to put y'all back in chains.
Yeah, I mean, that's why 90% of black people vote Democrat, because they think they need Democrats' help because you guys are evil.
And are you sure you guys are black? Because Joe Biden said if you're not voting for him, you're not really black.
Technically, I'm
too.
no longer black.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
Were you guys
there's
feeling
that.
like the racism percolate before you got vocal politically? Were you feeling that kind of stuff? I did, because it was like under the radar until 2016. I wasn't sensing it.
Actually, the person who actually converted me was Barack Obama. He'd actually converted me. I thought when he became president, because I voted for him for his first term. I voted for Al Gore. I voted for Bill Clinton. I was liberal. I was raised Democrat.
I voted for Kerry.
But you know what? I just
great,
like
though.
That's Skull and Bones' cousin.
Yeah, Barack Obama actually changed our minds, and the first time I voted Republican was for Mitt Romney.
Yeah, believe that shit.
What?
like Barack, because some people have said was the most racist president of all time because he would constantly talk about race.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great thing when he got elected. I was like, man, this is...
Yeah, you would thought like, man, a black man is president.
How far has this country came? And ever since he became president,
took a turn for the worse.
Turn for the worse in this country.
This country is systemically racist. But even though a black man beat two white men in a country that's, 65% white?
Yeah. With the name Barack Hussein Obama?
Yeah.
And twice.
Yeah, that should have galvanized white supremacists out of up on the rocks. Barack Obama, not my country. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, deporter in chief.
That's right.
Everyone forgot.
I mean, if you voted for Romney, that's technically voting for a Democrat too. So
Well, he was my last resort.
McCain the same way. Looking back on it now,
Looking back on it, do it feel like it was a setup for him to become president? That's the best thing the Republicans could have
Mitt
came up
Romney
with?
and McCain.
Yeah, it doesn't make.
Or they're just not smart people.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is, they're two elite clubs, and they're able to keep everybody out.
But they were friends with Obama.
Of course.
Close friends, and he was calling them pretty basically a racist, and they didn't even.
You see
weird.
You see the video from the House when there's no speaker. C-SPAN can show whatever they want, and you've got Republicans and Democrats fist bumping and hanging out.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And then many of these people will get up and be like, "Oh, these people across the aisle, they don't want to." Hey man, I'm just saying that. It's all one big party.
It's kind of
That's
like
what George Carlin said.
Kind of feel like we stuck in the Truman Show.
Yeah, man, I feel that. That's for sure.
Yeah, especially on mushrooms. You guys ever take psilocybin? It really feels
I haven't
like
tried that.
Yeah, it's the all the artificial stuff is very obviously built by humans. Everything else is like, what is this reality?
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.